Hello and welcome to the 136th installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our co-host, Jordan.
That's me, baby.
That's him. Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
This is a show.
Mm-hmm.
And this show is put onto perhaps several platforms.
Mm-hmm.
What might those platforms be? And perhaps, what is a good method to contact us, perhaps?
So you can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed, all linked below. If you wish to contact us, you can do so via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, and most importantly, death threats. And there's Instagram and TikTok, as well as the YouTube comment section, and YouTube and Spotify have video portions of the show. Where did this start?
What?
The whole platform thing?
I don't know.
We'll figure that out.
Probably when we got platforms.
It's probably fifth episode, somewhere around there. It's got to be somewhere there.
That episode was probably like, yeah, you can find us now on Spotify. Woo!
Yeah, I remember that. Spotify episode. We were like, we're sort of bigwigs now.
We're kind of fucking innovators, you know? We're innovators in the podcast space.
Yeah, pretty much. But, Chris?
Yeah.
We're both a couple of tired boys at the moment. This is our third hour of recording, which is out of character for us. We only usually do 2 episodes. That way we record bi-weekly but upload weekly.
Yes.
Why are we doing three episodes today?
Because you suck, Jordan. That's why.
I do suck. Yeah, I do suck. And fun fact: this episode could go anywhere. This could get uploaded anywhere in the timeline. It's not going to be in order. If you think about it, if I wait until the reason we're recording 3 episodes, this just goes up. This is like a month later from now.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, let's play this game now.
I'm gonna pull up the calendar. Hang on.
Let's predict. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to be going on in that time, 3 weeks from now?
So, for context, this episode is going to be for like March 20th. So, I know what I'll be doing, but I have a hunch that there's going to be some game releases. Maybe we'll get a little more news on Little Kitty Big City.
Oh shit! I hope so.
That could be exciting.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen by? What did we have? The 1st, the 8th. This is the 15th.
This would technically be the 15th, although technically the recording for the 11th would be 15th and 22nd. So this could be the 29th and the 5th for these third episodes.
What do you think's going on in that time?
The 3rd and the 5th? 29th and 5th, I mean?
Yeah. What do you think's going on the March 29th?
March 29th. All right. So PAX East would have just ended.
Yes.
So I think we got a bunch of game announcements, hopefully.
Little Kitty Big City came out.
Could you imagine? So for context, to jump the gun here, I'm going to PAX. That's why I have to record these episodes. Wouldn't it be awesome if I get to play a demo of Little Kitty Big City?
As you get to meet the devs?
Dude, I will take a photo just to rub it in your face.
If you're like, hey, I'm chilling with these guys. I'm like, who the fuck is that? This is the devs. You don't know? These are the devs of Little Kitty Big City.
So here's how I'll get them to take a photo with me. If they're like, we don't really do photos with my friend Chris. He's dying, okay? And he's really looking forward to your game. And he couldn't come to PAX with me this year. And
he's got AIDS. You got to give him. You got to give him a copy of the game. He's got AIDS, not the gay AIDS, but. There's an episode of Always Sunny about that where Frank wants to get in line. He wants to get ahead in line at like an amusement park or a water park. So he goes into the disabled line and he says he has AIDS and he keeps insisting that he doesn't have the gay AIDS.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God. Yeah, so I'll be like, yeah, Chris has AIDS. And he really wants to play the game.
He really wants to play Little Kitty Big City.
And then you play it and you're like, this is shit. Imagine if that game sucks. That would suck. It can't suck.
If that game comes out and it sucks, I'm just going to kill myself at that point. What's the point anymore?
But, yeah, we'll be post-PAX East. I'm wondering if we're going to see any Ubisoft there. If we're going to see, like, anything about Assassin's Creed Mirage. That'd be kind of cool. I hope we see some cool announcements. So by the time this goes up, yeah, we'll be post-PAX. We'll probably have some cool announcements in the pipeline. Maybe some games that surprise drop, like, what's it called? What the fuck's that game called? The Hi-Fi Rush. like that did the other day during I think it was was it the Nintendo Direct? I don't know. It was some sort of game thing. They just like
Some
surprise
game
dropped
thing.
it. But we'll have that. The next episode will be post April Fools.
Oh, damn.
We do a little tomfoolering.
Well, what do you think's going on April Fools? What do you think the April Fools pranks are going to look like for this year?
A couple homicides, I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's going to be some joking homicide, some jestful homicide.
Just a little prank.
Yeah, but you ever do a little jestful homicide now?
I mean, that's like the SpongeBob April Fool's episode where Squidward fucking kills SpongeBob and that's his prank.
Yeah, true. He drags him to the restaurant, smashing him into windows and shit.
Like,
yeah.
April Fools, and he's just dead.
He's shaped like a trash can.
Yeah.
Just dead.
It's a little sausage.
Yeah, a sausage. But yeah, we get that. I don't know if we're gonna do anything for April Fools. Probably not, but maybe. Last year we did something I thought was a little interesting.
It was all right.
Yeah, it could have been better, but it was actually not that bad.
That's like every one of our productions you could say that about, though.
Yeah, could have been better.
Could have been better, but yeah, it's all right.
For a couple of morons, it was pretty good.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I definitely think this year we could do like that same. If we redid it now, I think we'd be a little better. We have a better understanding of timing, shit like that. But yeah, we did like a little tomfoolery last year, so I would go check that out. The April Fool's episode. But yeah, I'm thinking hopefully the world doesn't end by then. That would be good. That'd be an accomplishment in and of itself. What about for you, Chris? What do you think is going to happen between now and then?
I think on March 3rd, 2023, the largest nuclear bomb ever built gets launched and dropped directly on my house.
Yeah, directly on your house. Yeah, I could see it. You seem like a high-profile target.
I think on March 14th, I'm gonna revive from the dead as like a super mutant.
Like Fallout?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. No, that makes sense. Yeah, so March 3rd, let's get our timeline down. March 3rd, you get nuked. March 4th, the Monterey video goes up. And then March 14th, you come back and you see the lack of views on the video and you blow your brains out.
I bet I blow myself up again.
Yeah, with another nuke.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think March 22nd is going to be, I think it's going to be 95 degrees out that day, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's currently like 20, so I agree.
That's my prediction. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. It's false because this has been happening all winter where it's 20 degrees for a day and then tomorrow's going to be 75.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be able to go to the beach tomorrow.
Like what is the weather for tomorrow, actually? Like genuinely.
I think it's more of the same. I think it's going to be cold again.
Let's see. Let's get this down. So, tomorrow's 42.
That's going to be 42.
Okay. So for context, the weather's going 24, this is the highest, 24, 42, 38, 38, 45, 54. This is like probably honestly the most consistency we've seen all season.
Actually, yeah.
Like, damn.
So in conclusion, we're in hell.
Yeah. Oh, and there was a lot of rain and snow mixed in there, too. I didn't talk about.
I love snow.
Do you?
Yeah, my favorite part is when it snows and you have to shovel.
Yeah, that is a banger part.
My favorite part is when it snows and then the snow plows are out and they spread salt everywhere and it makes your car look like fucking someone jizzed on it.
For like a week.
And then it rains and it washes it all away.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't stand the salt on the cars, man. Eats away at your paint, dude.
I just be licking the road salt off my car.
Fucking, oh, God.
What's the difference between road salt and just table salt?
I don't know.
Can you eat road salt?
I would think probably not.
Probably not, but like, what would happen if I did, theoretically?
I think that nuclear bomb would not matter at that point. You'd already be dead in here.
Maybe so.
Could you, dude, if I have to go to your fucking funeral and be like, yeah, he licked the salt off his Fiesta, and that's why you died, I'm not showing up. I'm not going there to deal with that.
I'm not even going to show up. I'm going to pretend I never even knew you.
And this podcast will be erased from the archives. Like, it's gone. Every piece of equipment gone, incinerated. Like
The room gone.
I'm gonna pull up all the tiles. I'm gonna put it back to what it was, rot and all. Exact same thing.
It's gonna install the mold again.
Gonna install the mold, pretty much, yeah. But yeah, so that's the big thing. I'm gonna be going to PAX East, which is pretty exciting.
East.
I thought you meant
I thought you
Weast.
said Weast. PAX Weast.
SpongeBob. But yeah, I'm gonna be going to PAX East with Let's See, which is super exciting, but also a little bit annoying because like, not a fan of big cities, and it's in Boston.
What if there was a game that took place perhaps in a big city, but here's the twist, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the twist. You play as a little kitty in the big city.
So is it like Big City, Little Kitty, or
No,
is
it's
it...
like little kitty, big city.
That sounds like it'd be cool. What's it like? What would you do?
You'd just be like a little kitty, but like in a big city, like a big city.
Okay. Yeah. No, you sold me. Yeah.
I hope that game doesn't come out and end up being Little Kitty Big Shitty. As I would be pissed. I'm gonna be legitimately angry.
Yeah. We have to do like a review for that game when it comes out. Like genuinely.
We'll do a full playthrough.
Yeah, 100%. But I have high hopes for that game. Actually, I don't have it wishlisted though. I do have to add it. We added it to your wish list, I believe.
I believe
not
it's
mine.
wishlisted on my Steam account. I can verify.
Yeah, I hope I see something like that at PAX. I'd like to see some cool indies. I don't know who's gonna be their AAA wise, because I know Sony does their own state of play thing and shit. So like, I feel like this might be a disappointing year for PAX, but we'll see. It could be good. I've never been before. I've always wanted to go. My mom did say she would take me when I was younger and never did.
Damn. It is on my wish list.
What does it say? Still 2023?
It says just to be announced.
Who's developing it? What the fuck? Who does it say the developer is?
Double Dagger Studio.
Double Dagger Studio. There you go. Support them. Go wishlist the game. Let's see what it's about. I'm excited.
The only info they have... Oh, holy shit. This has been in development for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah. Little Kitty in a Big City is the first episode, or the first video on the Double Dagger Studio YouTube channel. It was 3 years ago.
Holy shit. Maybe
So
they're
this
putting their
one-
heart and soul into it.
This one's been in the workshop for a while.
Yeah, that might be a good thing.
They're
or a bad
cooking.
thing.
They're cooking.
Could be a bad thing. Sometimes writer's block happens, you know? You write a compelling Little Kitty Big City story.
Yeah, like
Could you imagine if this thing has like a Red Dead 2 level story?
just that would be awesome.
That
The
would be
cat is like, "Come on, Dutch."
He's talking like an old dog.
Oh man.
That would be wicked funny if this cat, because it looks super sweet in the photos, just turns around and goes, "I'll kill you right now. You goddamn idiot." Like, what the fuck?
I want to play the game. I think because I feel like we're at a deficit of cat-related games.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there was Stray, and I liked Stray. I thought Stray was very good.
Yeah. But that also wasn't like a cat simulator in a way. Like, I wish you had a free jump button in that. I understand animation-wise, because they mocapped everything, why it had to be like a lock-on to the platform. But, like, I want like a free roam, motherfucking let me do whatever a cat does. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
anything
like I want to be a cat. You know.
Yeah.
I want to be like perhaps a little kitty in a big city.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if you get hit by a car and it just does the fucking Dark Souls dead.
Imagine if that's just how the game ends.
Oh my god.
The cat is on its way home because I think that's the whole plot. It gets hit by a car.
Could you imagine they make this compelling plot for 40 hours? You get so attached to this cat where you're like, man.
You're like, I love this more than my actual cat.
And then it just ends. He just sees his home and he just starts running. It's like dun 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 dun, and it's just fucking cleaved by a Subaru.
Yeah, he gets fucking eviscerated by an 18-wheeler.
And it's no cutaways. No, it's just like full on. It goes photorealistic. It turns into a film.
Yeah.
And this cat just turns into paste. And you're just like, oh, fuck. That'd be really disappointing.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would be mildly upset with that.
I think so as well. But I have high hopes for that game, and I hope that we see some more indies. Speaking of developers possibly making their first game, there's a new game that came out recently.
Is there?
That's It's pretty good. It's first time release for a developer, Mundfish, or Mundlefish, I forget how the fuck you say their name, but they made Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart.
That came out.
What do you think, Jordan? You've played it.
So the promise is like the kind of discussion around it was like this is like a newer BioShock game, and like it does have that. It kind of wears that on its sleeve essentially. Like it has that sort of vibe to it.
Okay.
But basically, like I'm fine with this. But like a lot of people's complaints are around the fact that they just made the main character fucking annoying. Like
the guy you play as just sucks.
Like he's supposed to be this hardened war veteran with amnesia, right? And like, bro will be in combat and hear about something dire happen, and this is like real dialogue. He'll just go, "Crappity craps."
Is that a real line? Is that real?
It's along those lines. It's like crickety craps or something like that.
Oh shoot!
It's stuff like that. And like, there's like a couple.
Gee whiz.
There's like a couple compelling moments like where it goes into like him having like this fatheristic figure in his life, and then that guy turns out not to be as good as he thought, and like your character who's named P3, he's just like a soldier, has to like kind of come to terms with that. And there's like a couple pieces of dialogue where I'm like, man, like it was a little touching, like the way he's just like, I've been fucking fooled, like, you know, he's like, he feels like it's all his fault, and I'm like, oh yeah, he actually delivered that pretty good. But then it's just there's always these. It reminds me of Saints Row, where like someone will piss you off and your character will go, "I'm gonna fuck your face."
That's fucking lame, dude.
Or he's like, "I'm gonna blow a hole in your head and kill you." Like it's just shit like that, and he says it like that too. It's not like he's like, you know, think of like Red Dead, right? And, you know, a character gets pissed off. They seem pissed off.
They get well. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Red Dead is that the insults and things like that make sense for the time. It's not like hey, I'm gonna rip you in half right now. It's I'm gonna rob you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot you with this gun I have.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's definitely some cringe dialogue, and like I kind of find it funny, and I'm just kind of going through it. You have a glove that's like your main contact that's talking to you and shit, and it's kind of interesting the dialogue they have back and forth. But like, it's also just like a little like cringe because then he'll be like, "Hey, glove," and then Glove's
Yo,
like,
glove,
what? And then Glove's like, "What?" And he's like, "Just put something on my fucking map already, bro." Like, that's literally like shit that your character will say. Will be like, "Why don't you just shut your mouth and put more locations on my map?" And the game's also very self-aware of like some of the dumb shit it does too, where like there's these lock-picking mini games, but they're actually like really cool. Like they're very unique compared to like Skyrim, where you fucking turn the needle, fucking, you know. There's like one or two of those, but then it's like puzzles you have to solve to unlock it, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But then it does it so often that you're like, all right, it's getting annoying. It does it so often to the point where there's an entire dialogue like, haha, look what we did moment where the character goes, ugh, another fucking lock. Why am I just a harbinger for boring shit? You made the game! You made the game! The character literally says, like, why does all this boring, tedious shit keep happening to me? How do you think the player feels? Did you think it would be funny?
You made the game. You could have just made it not like that.
Literally, like, he literally says, like, man, this boring shit just keeps happening to me. Like, what's going on?
That's so stupid.
And then
that annoys the fucking shit out of me. Is games any piece of media, it doesn't matter.
It's self-aware.
Where it's self-aware to a point where it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like a little nod here and there where it's like, eh? But it can't be like the writer being like, hey, player, this is the thing we did in the game. Check it out. You think it's cool?
Yeah.
Like, shut up, please.
Yeah, and it happens too with what the fuck was it? Oh, where like a robot is like, oh, it's through that door, and then your character cuts him off and goes, "Let me guess, there's a lock on the door." And then she's like, "Yes, you are correct." And then he goes, "Yeah, of course there is." And then you have to go unlock the door, the same way you've been doing for the last 10 hours. But it's just like, it's a little funny, a little whimsical, but it's like also at the same time
whimsical.
But at the same time, it's also like, if you're going to develop this character to get annoyed at doing this, how do you think the player who's been doing it for 10 hours feels?
I still think it would be funny to have, because now I'm picturing this character having, just seeing like his just one of his buddies, his brother, his lover, I don't know, get just blown to pieces, and he just goes like, "Oh frick." Okay, what the flip? He just gets covered in fucking viscera.
Oh man. Yeah.
The combat looks crazy. I haven't played it, but the combat looks really good.
So I'm gonna get to the combat because that's like the best and worst part of the game at the same time.
Oh,
but
okay.
like most recently, there's a whole dialogue where like in a cutscene you get blown up with a grenade, and the lady who throws the grenade.
That's gonna leave a mark.
The lady who throws the grenade like fucking radios you and goes, "Are you alive?" Because she wasn't trying to kill you; she was trying to kill someone else. And your character goes, "Yeah, I just got blown up by a grenade."
No shit.
And he says it in a way that's like, "Oh no, I'm not fine. I got blown up." But it's just like, okay, dude. Like, the dialogue is like one thing. I can get over that. I kind of just like enjoy it. Where the game shines is in the combat. Now, I will admit my combat limitations are derivative of that of the Steam Deck, so it doesn't particularly run incredible. And I'm also playing with a controller, so I haven't got to like really Doom Eternal that shit. But like it balances, you know, abilities and shit pretty well. Where I kind of want to replay some of the combat encounters on my PC just to like really fucking wreck house. But it's definitely fun enough. And man, the game has a really interesting soundtrack that I kind of like. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I found out that Mick Gordon made the combat music and shit. And I had heard that he did that. And then I'm going to be honest, I played the first couple hours of the game. I was like, man, if he made this fucking sucks. Like, this is nothing like Doom. But then there's very clearly like a switch where it turns into like, this must be where he actually started making the music. Because there's this whole part where you open a door, you walk into like a big circular room and there's just like robots and they all just kind of turn at you. And your character delivers some sort of like kind of funny line of like, oh, here we go again, like some cliche shit. And then the music just kicked off. And it's the first game I've played in a long time where I literally paused it, handed Letsy one of my earbuds and said, you have to listen to this shit. Because I was just fucking bouncing through this room blasting shit to like, not like Doom levels of like screamo music sort of fucking shit. Like there are moments like that in the boss battles, but this specific encounter was like
Doom is very like metal, like very it's very like heavy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of metal soundtracks in the game, but this specific one was like, it was more like classical. I think what it was is there's a lot of classical music they incorporate to be satirical to the fact that it's like Soviet Russia taking over or whatever. So I think it was a spin on some classical song, but like combatized basically for combat, and it was actually really fucking good. So the combat itself is pretty good. The enemy variety's a little mid, little kind of not great. There's one white robot that's just like a basic bitch who punches you. Then that robot eventually gets like a power sword like from Spider-Man 2018 and a shield. Then there's a black version of that robot that has a fucking Cyclops eye that shoots lasers. There's these annoying repair drones that fly around and repair the robots after you kill them, so you have to target the repair drones first. And then there's like the occasional like, oh, there's one that's a spinning, coil, and then it spins, and then it just fucking opens up, and it has two fucking machine guns and just shoots at you. Like, it's just like weird shit like that. There's a couple of varieties like that. Then there's just randomly zombies. There's just these like infected creatures. That are in there. So it's got like some variety to it.
Okay.
The bosses though, are pretty cool. But that brings me to one of my other gripenses, so to speak, as we'd always call it. The balancing of the game, at least I find it, is not great. Like there's just like random sudden difficulty ramps just out of nowhere. Like you go in one room and you're like, oh look, it's like 2 or 3 robots. Pow pow. You open the next door and there's like 400 robots. And you get your shit clapped. And then eventually they go, hey, check this out. We're going to introduce an enemy. It's only susceptible to melee damage. All right, cool. You know what is also possible, Chris? It's also possible to build your character in a way to which you don't have melee weapons. So that's another possibility.
Okay.
So what happened, for example, was there's one robot that's like, hey, it really gets hurt by shooting it. And I was like, oh, cool. So I shot it a bit, and I ran out of ammo. So then I literally had to spend 20 minutes just, like, letting the robot do its little attack animation until it goes into, like, the inevitable, like, trying to cool down.
Punch it.
And then I have, like, a little adze, and I would just go, like, oh, and it's back to fighting me, and I'd back away. It took me like 20 minutes to kill this thing. So like it tries to prepare you in the sense that like before every boss fight, it's got like a vending machine you can buy equipment at, but you never know what to buy. Sometimes you're like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of healing and stuff, and then you don't need them, or I'm gonna buy a bunch of incendiary rounds, and then you find out the thing's fucking invulnerable to incendiary ammo. So it's just like nice. It doesn't really prepare you for the fights per se. They're definitely doable. And I'm not sure if I've hit this part yet, but a reviewer did say there's one specific boss fight that is just absolutely and utterly unfair. I'm not sure if it's one that I've hit. If it is, then maybe they just sucked, because I haven't particularly struggled. I've died a lot, but it's like I just have to watch their patterns a couple times, and I'm like, all right, I see what this fucking thing's doing, and then I fight it even with a melee weapon. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the boss fights are cool and all, and like the visuals more than anything, the world is fucking awesome. It's pretty sick, but I don't know, dude. It's such a mixed bag for me. It is, because I enjoy the gameplay, like moment to moment. It's pretty cool, but at the same time, I'm just like, wow, this isn't what I thought it was. Like you can tell they were like, let's make a linear game. And then they were like, you know what? No, we want to have cars. Let's make it open world. But then they kept the story linear. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. There's zero side content in the world. Zero. But you have this big-ass open world. There's not even like towers to capture like a Far Cry game. It's just like...
It's the peak of fucking... every game has to be open world now.
It pretty much... Like, it does this thing, Chris. There's an entire scene, right? It's supposed to be like a badass scene. Like, you come out of a bunker... and you have to cross this bridge, and there's just like hundreds of enemies. So the game gives you a car.
Okay.
And it's like, just go. Fucking push right through them all. So you push through them like 10 feet, and then the game glitches because you're hitting too many objects at once, and the car ejects into the air. And then you get out of the car, and you walk 10 feet, and there's another car. And then you do the same thing, and you keep doing that. And you start to wonder, you're like, okay, they placed cars every 10 feet. Is that because they couldn't figure out why the cars were launching in the air? And they knew this was going to happen? Because literally I went through 4 cars crossing this bridge. And for the rest of the game, there's not really many cars. It's just on this one bridge where this happens. There's like one every 10 feet.
Hey, maybe a suggestion for game developers. If you can't properly work out areas in your game where you might have a ton of collisions, don't have those in your game.
Yeah. Maybe have like a robot chasing you behind you, instead of in front of you where you're ramming through them. Because what would happen is you'd hit one, and their ragdoll would like hit the window, and you're like, oh, cool. You'd hit a second one, and it would like kind of freak out. And then when you hit the third fucking robot, if they're all close together, your car just flips on its side. Just turns right over.
Nice. Okay.
So.
But what's your bottom line? What's the rating?
My bottom line is, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. Or no, 7 out of 10. If we're going to give Ubisoft like a 5 or a 6, this is definitely like a 7. For every creative thing that it does really well, it finds a way to fuck it up. Like, oh, we're going to incorporate lockpicking. No one likes lockpicking in any games, but we're going to make it really interesting. But we're going to make you do it every 7 feet. Okay, there's your downside. We're going to introduce driving. Oh, the car actually handles kind of realistically for a first-person game. Oh, but we're going to make collision just broken. Okay, we're going to add high-octane, fast-paced shooting, but we're not going to balance any of the enemies very well. Okay, we're going to have these really awesome boss encounters where you're just like one man fighting a giant robot, and it's really sick, but we're not going to balance that either. You're just going to have to figure that out.
Nice.
We're going to make this character, we're going to build this character up to be like a really cool backstory, like a soldier with amnesia. What did he forget? And he starts to get glimpses throughout the story. But we're going to make his dialogue just ass. Like, and it might just be a translation issue, truthfully.
Just make his dialogue ass.
The game might be supposed to be played in Russian. I don't know. But, like, I don't know. I would give it, like I said, like a 7 out of 10. I'd wait for a sale. I think it's a good buy just to have a good time. And I alluded to this earlier when I said I stopped playing games on hard. This was the one that I stopped.
Because of the difficulty spikes?
Well, because I read the front page of it, like when it was giving me the difficulty, and it said, like, make every bullet count. And I was like, I'll start it on normal, and if it's easy enough, like, I'll crank it up. And then I started to realize, like, make every bullet count, but it's not like BioShock. Like, BioShock says that, and there's a reason for it. Like, you're still not useless when you don't have ammo. You're not totally vulnerable. Like, it's so well balanced, that game, between, like, all right, you have to fight a big daddy, but you don't have to. It's only if you want to risk it. Okay, you got to fight this enemy. Well, there's plenty of ways around it. Like, this game is just like, make every bullet count, and then you fucking walk into an arena with a 74-foot robot, and it's like, oh, fuck that, use all your ammo. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's definitely like, I'm enjoying it. It's about 15 hours according to how long to beat. About 15 hours. I'm at like 11 or 12, but I did die a fair bit, so I'm probably near the end. It's okay. Even like the story payoff, like I personally enjoy a game with like audio logs. I really like audio logs. I like reading a little bit. I will say
audio logs are definitely preferable to getting a fucking novel.
Yeah. So there's a lot of novels. That was one thing I was like, ugh. But then we start getting audio logs, and they're actually fairly interesting. But dude, oh my god, I play a fucking audio log. I walk 10 feet, and then the character overtalks the audio log, and it shuts down the audio log.
That annoys the fuck out of me.
And I'm like, why are you putting an audio log here if you expect me to hit the button and sit here and stand and just wait for it to play? Like
that annoys the fuck. That's one of the things. That's one of the things that annoyed the shit out of me with both the new God of War games. Is if you're in a boat. And
oh my god,
like Kratos will start telling a story, or there'll be like a conversation that happens, and then you get to shore and you're like, oh, this is a good conversation. I hope I get to see the end of this. And you get to shore, and Kratos is like, shut the fuck up now.
Kratos like, not now.
Why wouldn't they just program it so they finish the interaction and then call it a day?
Yeah.
Instead. So
yeah,
you know,
so it's got that kind of annoying shit. It's got a lot of novels in it, but like. That takes me out of it because, like, with Dishonored, I understand. I'm not, like, super lore, like, deep with Dishonored, but it's probably the game I'm most lore deep with, if I'm honest, in terms of, like, it's not based in fact and it's totally made up, but I understand a lot of the lore, like how people are with Star Wars and shit. Like, there's certain rules to that universe.
Yeah.
Dishonored is one of the games that I'm fairly in touch with, and they do a lot of, like, books and stuff, and I never end up reading them. I only really know the lore because I've read the physical, actual novels that were written for the game, and that filled in a lot of it. But, like, Dead Space, the remake, it has a lot of audio logs, and they're fucking fantastic. The acting, the fucking presence of, like, what's going on in the audio log is incredible, and I enjoyed every single one. I would see an audio log, like, very clearly in a way where it's, like, trying to hint at me, like, you gotta find a way to get me, and I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, let's
get this fucking audio log.
Oh, it's behind a locked door. Let me figure out how to open this door. I see there's computers in Atomic Heart. I see it, like, behind a locked door with loot. I open the locked door, I loot the room, and I fucking leave. I'm like, I don't fucking care about what this computer says. Like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Like, so fucking stupid. There is one really cool thing, though. The looting system. It's very sick. This is where I was talking about where they do something really creative and then they fuck it up. This, they didn't really fuck up.
Okay.
Other than I find that sometimes when you're holding the button to loot, the character just stops looting. But that might just be a glitch, or maybe it's a Steam Deck thing. I don't know. But basically, you hold the right bumper, or on keyboard it's probably like E or something, and your character holds out that glove and like tendrils come out of it. It's all about like,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Like magnets, and then you just point it at objects and it like vacuums everything in.
That's pretty
cool. And it sorts the loot, and it will like pull in a bunch of loot, and then it will like quickly like spin it to show you what it is, and then pull it in. It's very sick because and the animation is so fucking badass because you just walk into like an office and it shows all the desks are lootable. So you just put your hand out and like scan the desk, all the drawers fly open and shit comes flying out of the desk. Like, it's sick. It's very cool.
That's really good because I find that to be like a tedious part of a lot of games that have looting, where it's like, okay, open every drawer. Okay, there's nothing in this drawer. Close this one. Open this drawer. Okay, there's
Red Dead
2 bullets in this drawer. Let me put those in my gun. Yeah. Okay, close the drawer. Open the top one. Oh, but I can't fucking select the specific drawer I'm trying to open because the game doesn't let me. So I have to, like, finagle my camera to, like, get to the right drawer. And then I open the wrong one 37 times and I say, oh, fuck it. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I think Dead Space did it well, especially, I don't know how the original was, but the remake where it's like, there are loot containers that you have to hit a button on, but you can like hold it and it will do it. Or the other ones are just breakable containers, and the animation is to stomp, so the character just goes, and stomps the container, and it's just so funny. Like, I hated looting in God of War, truthfully. That's one thing I didn't care for. Because it's always just the same, like, chest. Punches it and pulls shit out, or like, him pushing the top back and then lifting it. I'm just like, okay, just let me know what's inside the chest, Kratos. Bro's the God of War, but he's lifting the chest like as he lifts it open. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. To be fair, bro did flip an entire temple.
Yeah.
Over.
But yeah, you go to loot one of those chests, and he like struggles to push the lid back and then lift it. Like, they should have just made it like a really comically out of character animation where he just like grabs the lid and just whips it into the distance. That would have been way funnier. if he just like picked it up and went through it.
If he just very gingerly just opened it up.
I do have to say though, in Ragnarok, the one part where Atreus tries to punch through a chest is really funny.
Yeah.
And he like breaks his hand. He's like, "Oh fuck,
Fuck." Jesus Christ.
So then he starts using the bow. That's really funny. That was funny. That's like them knowing that people are like, about looting and making it kind of funny. But I did like the puzzles though in God of War with the bells and shit. I always wanted to get them apples, brother.
They did a lot of different things like with the different weapons and stuff.
Especially in Ragnarok with the fire and shit. Yeah, they did. But yeah, I mean that's like one way to do it. I like Atomic Heart approach, but yeah, I don't like Red Dead.
Red Dead is like, and you just grab like, okay, I gotta grab every individual can of beans here.
Yeah, and
like every individual bullet.
The only thing that Red Dead has going for is you can hold the button, and it does like a very cool animation. Which if you're trying to go for like a very like mellow, realistic approach to your playthrough, like I did in my last one, it's not as bad. But if you're just trying to like be like, oh, I'm just playing a cowboy game, it's so out of place because you just hold the button and he's always just like. Just pulling everything. And The Last of Us does it pretty well, I feel like. It's got a good balance between, like, if it's in a draw, the character will be, like, and open the draw. But, like, the actual act of looting, the character doesn't have to, like, pick up the box of bullets and look at it. They just go and snatch it.
He goes, what is this?
Yeah.
And they you gotta put it in their pack.
Yeah, like, in The Last of Us, you open up, like, a cabinet, and there's, like, ammo and, like, shit. You just hit the button a couple times for, like, each item, and it's just, like... And it's gone.
I think some of the better looting systems are games where you can just like hover over a container and it gives you like a breakdown of what's in there and there's a button to just take all.
Like Fallout, like a Bethesda game, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You just hit the button and the chest will open and you have a menu that gives you a list of everything that's in there. And there's just one button to take everything.
I like that for first person games personally. For third person, I am a sucker for like cool animations. So, like, that's part of why I like in Red Dead, like, when you're fist fighting, you, like, if you're near a table, he'll, like, throw them over the table and shit. Like, I like that kind of stuff. First person, that stuff doesn't translate well. So, like, Dying Light, for example. I wish Dying Light had menus. Instead, you have to, like, look at the weapon, wait for the stats to appear, hit square, he'll pick up the sword. Like, it's cool and all, but I prefer for first person, like, a Fallout game. You just, like, hit a button, list, take all, or take this, take that, take this.
Yeah.
But for, like, Red Dead, I think it would be a little out of place in that universe. Personally, anyway. Just to, like... walk up to a chest and see, oh, there's $500 in there. Like, and just, you know.
I guess.
But maybe it's because of what we already have, like what Red Dead 2 is. If it wasn't like that, maybe it wouldn't feel that way. But I think it depends on the game, and it also depends on how egregious the looting is. So, like, if Atomic Heart had you click a button every time to loot, it would be ridiculous because you walk into, like, an office, and every single desk has shit in it. So you would literally be like, It's like 50 desks. Instead, they did that cool thing where your guy puts his hand out and a bunch of fucking loot comes flying at you and it's sick. So, like, in that universe, it made sense. But, like stuff like The Last of Us where there's not a ton of lootable stuff anyway. It's mostly just, like, people you kill. You loot them or, like, a couple cabinets. I don't mind the more, like, bombastic animation of it. Red Dead only sucked when you loot, like, an entire fucking house.
Yeah.
And there's, like, 12 cabinets and every single one he's like... Here.
When you open the cabinet, I gotta grab like a piece of cheese, and I gotta grab like a fucking a single bean,
a fucking cigarette card.
I have to grab 7 cans of peaches. I gotta grab a fucking loose cigarette that's in here for some reason. I gotta grab a cigar. I gotta grab each individual bottle of whiskey that's here. Like it's ridiculous. Or I gotta grab each individual dollar, and there's fucking a bunch of quarters everywhere. Let me grab those too. Oh, yeah,
that's what sucked is when it was quarters too, because he would grab the money in like a stack, like 3 stacks of money, and then he'd go...
It's like a little coin purse. He throws them in there.
It'd be funny if he like bid it, he checks it for authenticity. Okay.
Imagine now he every dollar he grabs, he has one of those pens. Like they have at the fucking store. It's real.
Every single dollar.
Every single dollar. Just to make sure there's no counterfeit dollars.
Because he seems like the kind of guy
who counterfeit money's against the law.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy.
If there's anything about Arthur Morgan,
he doesn't break the law.
He's a man of the law.
Absolutely.
He doesn't break the law ever. I don't think he breaks the law at all in that game.
I think he's the only one who doesn't.
He's the only person in this gang that never breaks the law once.
He goes to the bank. He's like, "Can I please have your money?" They say no, and he turns away.
I'd like to make a withdrawal. Oh, I don't have an account. Okay. He goes home.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, "Ah, shit, we're poor," and he's like, "Dutch, come on,
Dutch, we don't have any money, Dutch. I need to open a savings account, Dutch."
They said I'd have a higher interest rate than you, Dutch. Give it 12 years, we could have 47 cents.
Dutch, they said they would give me a good rate on an automobile loan, Dutch.
He's like, "Arthur, what do you mean?" He's like, "I took the fucking loan, Dutch. We're in more debt than ever. But now we can drive to
We're
Tahiti."
in debt, Dutch. I bought a new car, Dutch. Arthur, you didn't put any money down on the car. Your payment's going to be higher than it should be.
He's like, "Dutch, I'm sorry, man. Now we can drive to Tahiti."
Drive over the ocean.
He sold me these boat floats. He puts on the car and just drives it into the water and sinks immediately. Dude, Red Dead 1 was always cool when it had the cars in it, though.
Yeah.
I used to think that if you 100% of that game, they should have given you a fucking car. That would have been sick.
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Having a car. But the cars sucked, was the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the few times you're in a car, it's, like, so goddamn slow.
I know. But it's also because the NPC is driving it, too. So it's like a exposition. Like,
I suppose,
when the Pinkertons are driving you, it's just very like, "Oh, John, you're a bitch."
You know you broke the law, John Marston. Yeah, I guess I did.
I suppose. Yeah, I guess that's why you're after me, huh?
I guess I did some bad things, huh?
It kind of made sense. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Atomic Heart's another one that I'm like, I'm getting the Dying Light 2 vibes, by the way. Where I'm like, I really just wanted this to be better. Like, I had expectations that, like, I just kept seeing it and, like, hearing it. And I'm like, it looks like something I could sit down and sink my teeth into.
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, and then it's just like,
And
it's
then
not bad. It's not bad. It's just mid. It's just super mid. Like, Dying Light 2, sure, it's a fun time. But it had the same problems with that game, too, where it's like, okay, you have this character. He's kind of voiced a little cringy, but it was fine because the first one wasn't great with voice acting either, but that's okay. You had cool combat, cool. But then they were like, okay, people really liked in Dying Light 1 how, like, you were just, like, this powerful guy. You would just fucking smash zombies with bats. Like, so what if we just, like, add levels to the zombies? So that way, if you're not high enough level, your dropkick is useless. And I thought that would be fun somehow. So then Dying Light 2, you spend most of the game fucking you have a machete versus rotting flesh and bone. And you're like, and then you're watching this little fucking health bar move. And then somehow, coincidentally, the health bar hits 0 and then you chop their head off.
The
fucking stupid.
Stupidly tanky enemies like that just annoy me because...
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, like at least... You can overwhelm the player with, like, amounts of enemies rather than just making them ridiculously tanky for no real reason.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem I had with Dying Light 2 is, like, if I drop kick a motherfucker, it should be the same as the other motherfucker that I drop kicked. Like, just because that dude has a 4 above his head and that one has an 8.
I drop kicked this one regular zombie, but I did the same thing to this guy, this other regular zombie. But just because the game wants to... just tells me no.
Yeah.
Just tells me that I can't do that.
If I remember correctly, this is how fucking minimal I care about that game because I can't even remember most of the plot. But I think I remember they try to lure, what's the word? Lure back it by saying, "Oh, there's chemicals from the bombings in this area that have, like, enhanced the zombies." A fucking knife is still going to chop the thing's head off. Like, I'm hitting it with a machete, dude.
Yeah, again, bottom line, it's like the thing I was talking about. Like, there's a lot of characters that exist in fiction that could be very easily defeated by just being shot in the head.
Right.
And zombies have to be one of those for it to work, really.
True.
Because, like, it doesn't make sense if you shoot the thing and it's fine.
Yeah.
If we're talking traditional zombies raised from the dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Though. It's like, it's just like dumb shit like that. And I'm like, why? Like, why do you have to do this? And, like, Atomic Heart doesn't have health bars, which is really good. I'm so glad it doesn't have health bars, except for bosses, obviously. But regular enemies, they just kind of have, like, damage models where you can kind of tell, which I really appreciate. Like, if you smack the shit out of one of the regular robots, you'll see, like, pretty decent damage to it where you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, actually. That's one thing it does really well, is like, the regular zombies, I have my melee weapon spec'd up, or regular robots, I have my melee weapon spec'd up where I can charge up a power attack and with one hit, just take their head off. And as I do that, you hit them, they go completely limp and their head goes flying. It's so fucking satisfying.
Damn.
That's so sad. Or you just chop them like straight in half. Like it's pretty sick. The damage model is pretty cool. But
it's pretty neat.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely a decent game. I would like, if you get it for like $50 like it's worth it. It's a decent time.
I see.
But yeah, if you were saying like God of War was like a tough game on normal, you might want to play this one on easy because it's so badly balanced, dude. I'm struggling on normal, which is like completely fucking out of character for me.
Damn.
A bit of a gamer.
Bit of a gamer. Wasn't necessarily tough. It was just a great balance.
Yeah, which I could see where like for some people normal might be a good balance. But I don't know. Maybe it is just me. I don't fucking know.
Sudden spikes in difficulty are stupid though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of annoying.
Or unless there's interactions that you can back out of and then do them again when you have better stuff.
Oh my god, that's the other thing, Chris. So the boss fight I was talking about where I had to fucking just mollywop it with an axe for 22 minutes. I died immediately in that fight when I ran out of ammo, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. It spawned me. I expected it. Like every other boss fight. Spawn me like right before I step into the arena.
Yeah.
Where that vending machine is, because I was like, worst case, I can buy shit there, or if I don't have enough currency, I can just like go back to the open world and beat up some fucking robots and get shit. No, it's the one boss fight that spawns you in the fight every time. So then I was forced to just smack it with an axe the whole fucking time.
That only works when you only have melee weapons.
Yeah.
Like, or if melee is like a big portion of your combat.
Yeah. Which it's like a big portion in this game in the sense that like you have to rely on it, but it's just not big in the sense of like they didn't spend much time with it.
Yeah. Like something like God of War can get away with that. And it does happen where it checkpoints in the middle of a boss fight.
Oh, all the time, yeah. As soon as you, yeah.
Because your axe isn't going to run out of ammo.
Yeah.
Like, it's an axe.
And God of War also takes into consideration optional bosses.
And
so
Kratos doesn't have just, like, a gun.
Right.
So.
Right. Main bosses will, like, checkpoint in the middle of it, but, like, optional bosses won't. Like, there's many times I saw the rifts where I was like, oh, let me check this out. And then I fucking got wrecked in one hit.
Destroyed,
and it spawns you right before you open the rift. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go around that.
Exactly.
So.
That's when a game, like, kind of understands how, understands how people play games.
Yeah.
Oh, I got destroyed in this one interaction. I'm clearly not leveled up enough for this. Let me go get some other stuff. Let me back out of this interaction first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad checkpoints are just as bad as, like, they can make the game way worse. And there's no reason for it either.
Right. True. I mean, Atomic Heart also has some fairly mid checkpoints as well. Like, there's one specific part where you have to, like, you're in a facility and you have to go to 4 different divisions to get 4 different parts of a robot to reassemble one of them.
Okay.
And you, like, go get the arm, the leg, the head, the heart, like that or whatever. And, like, you would think, right, just typical, as someone who's played plenty of games before, Chris, you would think, in this journey, we'll break it into 3 parts. You get the quest.
Yes.
You go get the item.
Okay.
You return with the item.
Yeah.
Whereabouts would you guesstimate there would be checkpoints throughout that journey?
Well, okay, so you get the quest. That should be like a checkpoint because you have the quest now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably on the way there should be checkpoints probably before and after major interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you're walking into this area where we know there's going to be a ton of enemies. Let's checkpoint here, right before that area. And then after the fight, we checkpoint. If it's a long enough fight, we checkpoint in the middle. But, we've already seen how that could be problematic. But we checkpoint afterwards because, the player did the interaction already. We don't want to send them back and do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then, same thing on your way back. And when you actually get the item, I'm assuming there would be some sort of boss fight of some kind. You checkpoint before the boss fight and after the boss fight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so you have about the same line of thinking as I do, which is, at a minimum, you checkpoint when you get the quest. Somewhere in between getting to the destination, getting the item. Then, on the return venture, unless it's one of those ones where, like, you go do all this stuff to get the item, and then there's, like, a new door you can open that just takes you straight to the place, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just, like, a there and back sort of thing, you checkpoint along the way, but primarily you checkpoint when you get the item, and then when you get back to the robot. Well, let me tell you something, Chris. I did one of those side pieces or whatever. I went to go get, I think, the head. I go into a room.
What do we get head?
I went to go get head. I go into a room, fight a bunch of enemies, kill them all, do this, do that, do this. I go back. I'm like out of ammo. I get the head. I return. I'm making my way back to the main room where this robot's body is that you're trying to reassemble. And I'm like shit out of ammo, shit out of health. I have no neuromods, as they call them, which is your fucking healing shit. So I'm like, man, I literally said to myself, I'm like, man, I can't wait to get back here so I can go to like the hub area and like buy some shit. So what does the game do? You step in the area, boom, fucking 56 enemies appear. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll try my best here. Like, I'll do what I can. They fucking mop the floor with me. What does the game do? It spawns me to when I got the quest. So I had to do the whole thing over again.
I would shut the game off at that point.
I was pretty pissed. Yeah, I was pretty pissed. This is the first game in a little while. Dead Space was one of them, but this is like a big one. Now, Lexi just keeps being like, why are you playing that? You seem very clearly unhappy. She's like, she hears me like yelling about the game, and she's like, why are you still playing?
Why are you still playing?
And I tell her all the time, I'm like, don't tell me that. That makes it worse. If I'm mad about something and someone says, just don't do that, I just get angrier.
Yeah, checkpoints should be optimized in such a way that the player has to repeat as little content as possible.
Yeah.
That's the thing that annoyed me about like the Souls games is you would go to an area, you would fight enemies, and you would get to a boss arena, the boss would destroy you instantly, and you would have to do the entire thing again because you would respawn back at a bonfire.
Right.
And then you would have to spawn back at the bonfire and then do this whole interaction again.
Yeah.
Then get to the boss. Or you could just do a boss rush where you just sprint to the boss's area.
Right.
Because you don't have to kill the enemies, but still, you're repeating this same gameplay loop over and over and over again. Yeah.
Actually, another bad save point example was when you leave the facility, you get the car for the first time, and they're like, yo, check out the car. You drive, I think it says 1.5 kilometers. That's 1,500 meters you drive. And there's like story exposition while you're driving there. And you get to this new area, and then they suddenly introduce a new enemy. So you don't really know how to fight it, per se. It just shoots missiles. What you don't realize is that it can just rapid fire these missiles in like short bursts. So I pull up in the car, and I'm like, oh, look at that little guy. I get out, and I just get gunned down by missiles. And I'm like, I die, and I'm like, oh, gee, I'm laughing at myself. I'm like having a good time. I'm like, oh, shit, that was funny.
Oh, that's a little silly.
And then it spawns me all the way back at the facility, pre all of that dialogue. I have to drive all the way there. Now, it's not super bad. It's probably like a 2.5-minute drive, but it's still the point. It should have saved the instant I got to this destination. It should have checkpointed right fucking there. Like, before I exited the vehicle. It should have checkpointed and been like, all right, you're here. Nope.
Foolish.
It waits till you get out of the car, fight that fucking thing, and then go inside.
If you're not going to give me a manual save, like at least fucking have good checkpoints.
For real.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah. Speaking of manual save, I replayed Dishonored recently on the deck. I beat that shit in 5 hours. I fucking speedrunned it. But I took so much advantage of quick saving in that game.
Well, the original Dishonored, if you do everything without any stealth, yeah, it's like a 4 or 6 hour game at the most.
No, I was saying even so. I did it all stealth, 5 hours. If you boss rush it, so to speak, and you just like spec out your powers the right way, because what I did, the way I was able to beat it that quick stealth, is I spec'd out some of my powers in a way where I could see through walls wicked far, and I could teleport the farthest you can in the game. So I could just like bypass fucking fences you were supposed to get keys to and shit. Like I just circumvented all of that.
That's crazy.
But if you were to just fucking boss rush it, where it's like, okay, your objective is to either kill or pacify this enemy, and you just fucking fly through, you can probably beat the game in like 2 hours. It's short as fuck. It was like 5 missions.
You walk in, you fucking blast the guy in half, and you call it a day.
Because like there's an entire sequence where, like for example, you spawn on a wharf and you're supposed to like get this bridge to lower. I just like swam around and then teleported over a fence into the fucking area.
That's pretty.
And like, yeah, and eventually you get to like places with rooftops that you can just stick to the roofs, and you just go like completely over enemies' heads without them knowing. It's very lore accurate, might I add. Like in the book, they don't really purposefully engage with enemies. It's very much like, I'm going to rely on my powers to like stick to rooftops and shit, as you would if you were heavily outnumbered and also didn't want to just kill soldiers for no reason. So like literally I would consider this my lore accurate playthrough. I was like teleporting from rooftop to rooftop. It's like, oh, get to the top of this bridge. So normally you'd have to like fight through some guards through the bridge and then climb a ladder. I'm like, what if I just teleport to that crane and then jump across? And I was just doing shit like that. Beat the shit in literally like 4.5, 5 hours. But quit save. was my fucking friend, dude.
Yeah.
I would miss a teleport, and I'd hit the ground and just die, and be like, oh.
Yeah, quick saving is great in Bethesda games as well. Like having to do an interaction, like in like Fallout or something, you can quick save. You can do this interaction, fail a speech check, load your save, do the speech check again, and get it this time. You know, or you can, you know, of course, quick save, kill someone, and then load the game back again. Just because that person pissed you off.
Yeah, true. I did that in, I haven't finished New Vegas. I fucking uninstalled it because I was like, this was bold of me to think I could replay this, but
Damn.
I played a lot of it, and then it opened me up to 7 quest lines simultaneously, and I was like, all right, I'm done. Like,
All right, I've had enough Fallout for today.
yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I got to the casino where you're supposed to like get your revenge, and it was like, hey, it did an exposition dump where it's like, here's the plot, and I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting, and then it opened up, I think, 6 or 7 quest lines. Didn't tell me what order to attack them. I pursued the first one and went into a highly outnumbered area and died immediately. I was like, and I'm done. All right, cool. So I uninstalled the game. But yeah, same thing there. It's like quit saving, dude. It was always so funny to just be like, I think I can take this guy in a fight. Quit save. Fight him, lose. I can't take him in a fight.
Yeah. See?
You gotta try.
You gotta try at least, and quick save enables you to do that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I appreciate games that are honest with it, like Dishonored. Literally says in the tutorial, save often so you can try different attempts. Like, it doesn't say like, oh, you're a bitch if you do that. Like, it literally tells you like, hey, to enjoy this game to its fullest, like, you should save very often.
Yeah, save and then play it again.
It also even says like, save before any big decisions. That way, if you wish to change it, you can do so. Not like, no, this is the right way to play. You stick to your choices. Like, and I'm all for that personally. Like, I love when a choice-based game comes out. I always try to do my run through, which is just like, I live with the consequences. And then if I enjoy the game enough, I go back and I try to get like the perfect outcome.
Yeah.
Like try to be like, all right, how can I prepare for this situation better? That's what I do with Dishonored. I happen to do a slowly low chaos playthrough, and I got like the good ending. And then I was like, oh, cool. How do I get the gooder ending? Oh, okay, I did get the goodest ending.
How do I get the goodest ending?
So then I just went like ape shit and killed everyone and got the bad ending. So just shit like that. You know, I appreciate games that'll let you do what you want to do and not criticize the player for that either. Like, this wasn't our original vision. Then don't give me the fucking option. If you want me to have a good playthrough, then make that the only thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't give me the option to do it if you think it's bad.
Like, imagine if you went and played through The Witcher, right? And there was one specific ending that the devs, you know, wanted you to get among the other 4, and they were like, I can't believe you got the other 4. How fucking could you? Then why did you give me the decision, asshole?
Give me the option.
Like, if you wanted to make a linear game, make a fucking linear game. It's like BioShock. Again, one of my favorite games ever, BioShock. You just fucking do your thing, you finish the game, and you go, damn, that was a good-ass story. If they opened it up and then they gave you multiple options and you chose one of them and they're like, actually, you were supposed to get this ending. Well, then fuck you.
Imagine you're playing a game, you're playing The Witcher, and you get to the end, and you get one of the endings, and instead of showing you an ending, it's just a plain black screen with white Times New Roman on it that says no, and it sends you back to the beginning of the game.
Holy fuck. That'd be brutal for The Witcher because how long
you gotta get the right ending, because you fucked up a choice 1,300 hours ago.
Yeah.
You fucked up this choice on hour 6, and you're on hour 104. So you
and the best part is they don't even tell you the choice. They're just like, you fucked up somewhere, and then you find out it was like a dialogue to like a maid in a bar. Like,
you find out that it's like instead of walking left on a road, you walked right.
They're like, yeah, you weren't supposed to go down Valen Square. You're supposed to go Valen Triangle. Like, fuck, dude.
You actually walked through this section instead of sprinting through it, so
yeah. Like, then why didn't you just make a movie, asshole?
For real.
Like, shit, dude. I don't know. I like the freedom of choice. I always try to go for like good endings and good playthroughs, like I said, and then I try to do something different again. So, like The Walking Dead, when I started the Telltale games, I tried doing the best playthrough on season 1. And once I continue season 2, I'm gonna do the same thing. Try and like make the best choices, knowing what characters are already doomed to die and shit. So, yeah. But anything you want to add, Chris? It's a very Atomic Heart heavy episode.
Yeah, I haven't played the game.
Yeah, you should try it. I think you'd like it. I would just probably wait for a sale. I mean, $60 for a game like that's a little hard to fork over sometimes. So.
Also I'm going to wait for a sale.
Yeah. And then, you should look into The Last of Us on your PS5.
Yeah, I might buy that today.
Huh.
Anyway, I think that's it. I think that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I think that's all she wrote. She's done writing? Yeah. She said she's done.
She's done writing. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we're good? All right. Ready for the outro? Yeah. We're good?
Yeah, let's do the platforms.
There's no one
again.
over there. It's a wall, by the way.
It's literally a
ready?
wall.
Check this shit out. Wall.
So what platform?
So as always, you can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed, all linked below. There's also YouTube with a video platform and Spotify, the video platform. Contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. And Instagram and TikTok and YouTube comment section. And that's it. One of these days, I want to find a way to speedrun that outro so fast that it wouldn't even be...
It's completely unintelligible.
It's unintelligible, but also two things. It's unintelligible. If you slow it down to quarter speed, it's somehow perfectly... I'm like, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and it's just like perfect. But also that it's so fast that if someone heard, they're about to end and tried to exit the episode, I could get it in there before they exit.
Oh, they're about to end. You can find us on...
It's just a boom. It's like a fucking flashbang. Like,
oh fuck.